The other day was the shareholders meeting, and there were a lot of great questions, there were a lot of terrible questions, and there were some real crazy people there. And wouldn't it be absolutely crazy if you could actually talk to one of them and find out what the heck is going on and what they're thinking? That's what we're gonna do. I'm here with Justin, the bearded Tesla guy. I'm Brian. Welcome to Futuraza. So you managed to get up in front of the man himself.
Yeah.
What was it? Do you remember? First of all, what was the joke and then the question?
Yeah, so there was a joke, and it may be a little bit complicated for most people to understand, but it was just a Disney joke. It was all in good fun, just to loosen the guy up. And then we talked about FSD.
Yeah.
And unbeknownst to me, until people started tagging me, I guess Franz was sitting right behind me, didn't even realize.
Franz was sitting behind him the whole time.
Didn't even know it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty wild, actually. We were all hanging out over in that area, and then I guess all the executives came out, and they were sitting in that section, so they cut the section off.
So tell us what the question was and the answer you got.
Yeah, so I talked about full self-driving. As we think about autonomy and solving autonomy, there's some real human consequences to achieving that, right? There are some sacrifices that have already been made. There's some sacrifices that have yet to be made. There's a real human cost to this. And we've already seen some companies just close up shop. Tragedies do happen, but in order to get to a safer, better road for tomorrow, unfortunately, that's part of that development. So I was just curious to see where his mind was at on that. Is he gonna be able to be perfectly fine with this, understand the bigger picture, or is it like some of these other companies, is this gonna really weigh on him? And I think we got a good answer.
Well, so for reference, Uber had one death that was entirely human fault. I mean, it was the supervised drive was unsupervised, and that should never have happened. It was tragic and unfortunate, and they
Cruise
basically went out of business. And Cruise
was the other one. That one was really sad. Pedestrian gets hit. I mean, these things are going to happen, unfortunately. And it's not that anybody wants it to happen, but it's just part of the development of this.
And his answer was?
His answer was, listen, the data tells us what the right answer is, right? As long as we continue to be safer than cars on the road today, we have to continue down this path, and we have to continue to show that it's safer, and it's getting even safer with this development, and I think that's the right answer. Focus on the good of what's happening.
And that's what we needed to hear is, we're not going to get emotional.
Yeah.
We're going to stick with the facts, with the data, and we're not going to, if we have to run over a few baby mannequins, yeah, clown.
Dan O'Clown.
Clown O'Dan, I think is his name. It's an Irish fella.
Yeah.
I went to his booth at CES. I didn't see him, but I knew he was there because there was plenty of grease paint on the walls.
Oh,
so,
man, that guy.
If you had more time to ask questions, what was your next question?
Sure, I mean, there's the simple basic questions like, hey, when is FSD going to be available on my Cybertruck? You said 12.5 and you said July. Is that still the case? When is $25,000 Tesla coming? Is that also Cybertaxi? Are they both one and the same? Are they both going to be sold separately? Is Cybertaxi going to be able to be bought by consumers, or is it going to be in-house only? Does that mean,
yeah.
Is your Model Y also going to be able to join the fleet, or is it specifically robotaxi? There's a million questions to ask.
Well, and I would say because on the robotaxi, there's three options. It could be in-house only, which I think they can't afford because
I agree.
$20 billion in cash is not enough to deploy
I agree.
that number. It could be only to institutions, to fleets, where if you minimum is 100 or 1,000 or
Right.
10,000. And then, of course, it could be a free-for-all.
Yeah.
But then your second question, I think, is just as valuable. Can my 2019 Model S, Model 3, Model X, can that go on the network? What do you think the answer to that's going to be?
I think we're going to find out soon enough.
Do you think we'll find out
I
on August 8th?
think we'll get a pretty good indication. We may not have the exact answer, but I think that, by the way, Cyber Beast. Oh, no, that one's not the Beast, is it? Let's see him take off. This is always fun. Seeing a 7,000-pound piece of steel just launch.
And another Cybertruck, and another Cybertruck, and another Cybertruck, and another Cybertruck. They're thick as mosquitoes out here.
Yeah, I think it's a complicated question, though. I don't think it's going to be as easy as Yes, but I also don't think it's going to be as easy as no. And I know that's cryptic, but
It's not. The reason you asked the question you did is you and I were talking. I think of all the questions you had, that was the most powerful one that was going to get an answer.
yeah. For me, this is why I can't run Tesla, because that would weigh on me. I wouldn't be able to help that. I would feel so responsible. But that's why people like Elon Musk are so good at what they do, is they can stick to the data, they can stick to the science or in the development, the engineering, without letting these types of things weigh on them. I could never be that person.
I don't think I have the heart to do the layoffs.
Yeah.
It would be too hurtful. I mean,
Right.
you have a family.
Right?
Yeah.
But that's what they need to do for the businesses to survive and
Yes.
to be able to make those cold calculated things. It doesn't make them a bad person. They're just wired different. And I could not successfully run a big business like that because of that.
Yeah. Any other any favorite dumb questions that were asked?
Oh my gosh.
So first of all, the rule when I do a Q&A is it must be short and it must end with a question mark. So
Yeah.
none of these 3-minute rants and then sit down.
Well, there were a lot of 3-minute rants where it was praising the guy. I don't think, like, he's one of the things I've noticed about Elon. If you watch him during these Q&As, you can tell the questions where he's like, "This is so dumb," but he never interrupts. He lets them speak. He continues to make eye contact, and he's gracious. He never makes anybody feel stupid, and I have a lot of respect for him for that, because we all get tired of that, right? And we're like, what are you talking about, right? But he's patient, and I have a lot of mad respect for him for that reason.
Yeah. And there was, of course, like a pitch meeting or two at the end there,
man, yeah.
where you're like, thank you for your time. Yes. And we had yesterday at our, when I say yesterday, I mean last Saturday at the Muskegon meetup, the biggest summer meetup owners event there in Michigan. It was fantastic.
Until the end, right?
Right?
The one moment.
The one moment we brought the speakers on stage for a Q&A, and the first question, this guy jumped up, grabbed the mic, he comes up, his hands are trembling, and he says, LiDAR, Tesla's own attorneys say LiDAR will never work.
No, cameras will never work.
Cameras will never work.
You need LiDAR to solve the problem.
You must have LiDAR, or you'll never solve it. When will Elon be honest about it?
Yeah, here's the problem. Like, it's not that LiDAR is bad. It's just a different solution that currently doesn't work. And the path to making it work doesn't exist. There's no line of sight to that. On the other hand, cameras, they've been able to develop these things and build an ecosystem around them where they're treating their space like a three-dimensional space just using cameras.
Right.
And infrared is starting to become bigger. There was a big discussion about infrared. And right now, there's only one car that has unlimited access to any level of autonomy, even supervised, on every road. And that's a Tesla, and it has zero LiDAR. It has zero radar. It has no ultrasonic sensors, which I really wish we still had ultrasonic sensors, by the way. And rain sensors. Come on.
It was great. Somebody posted on X saying, do you take our interaction with the wipers to train the net? And Tesla responded, yes, we do.
Yeah.
And I said, rain sensors could train the net too. And they did not respond to that.
Yeah.
Because...
How much is a rain sensor? How much do you think it is? $12?
Oh, I'd guess $30 million a car. I'm assuming. Yeah. It's got to be, right? It's too much.
At least $1 million a pop.
It was a... Don't remove things until they're working. Anyway.
Yeah, that's another discussion.
A bit of evidence that we're not in a cult. We can criticize when it makes sense. You do it so rarely. It rarely makes sense.
Yeah.
But sometimes it does.
Sometimes it does.
So the gentleman was saying it must be done, and he was getting boos and he was getting jeers, and he hauled his ass out of there to the parking lot, and fan of the show Devin was there, great guy, and he was sitting near where he took off through, so he just hopped up, followed him to the parking lot, and had a little chat with him. He goes, hey, I want to hear you out. Well, and he goes, oh yeah, and how do you know so much about LiDAR? I'm heavily invested in a LiDAR company. Okay.
There you have it.
There you have it. So and he hopped in his Prius hybrid.
Yep.
So.
This guy spent his whole Saturday just to hang out there and wait for that one moment. Like, what? Like, this isn't... We're not at Tesla headquarters. This is not Tesla's event. These are families in Michigan and around the Midwest that are here to hang out and talk about cool stuff with electric cars. Heavily weighted towards Tesla, but still there's Rivians there, there's Hyundais there, right? It's a family event. This dude's a clown.
We had a lot of fun. Justin, the bearded Tesla guy, so awesome to have you back on the channel once again, this time in person from Michigan. It was fun. We met so many times and we never actually shot anything in person before.
Yeah.
But this time we got it. So what did we miss? What did we misunderstand? Leave it in the comments below and stay tuned, stay juicy, whatever you do. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all that good stuff. And I can't wait to hear from you clever robots on the next one.
Peace.